Hello everyone,
Hello everyone, I'm Monica,
I'm Jessica.
and today we're back with another video. So we have a guest today who was born in the US but has also lived in India and Australia when she was young.
So she'll be sharing her experience in the cultural contrasts and similarities, as well as her growth under the influence of multiple cultures. Let's get into the video.
Hi, we're Princeton
We're Princeton
Connect.
Connect.
So today we have Sahir with us.
Yep.
Hey.
So here, can you introduce yourself a little bit in Hindi and then translate that to English so we can all
Yeah. So I'll start with English and then I'll go into Hindi. But my name is Seher Basi. I go to Princeton High School. I love to swim and travel during my free time. I've been swimming competitively since freshman year, and my passion is neuroscience. I love to read articles about it. I'm currently doing a passion project about it. So neuroscience is my thing. I go to Princeton High School, and I'm a rising senior this year. And yeah, okay, so I'll translate that in Hindi. नमस्ते, मेरा नाम सहर बासी है और जब मेरे पास कुछ काम नहीं है तो मैं स्विमिंग या ट्रैवलिंग करती हूँ और मुझे न्यूरो साइंस सीखना बहुत पसंद है. मैं अभी थोड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स कर रही हूँ उसके बारे में. जब मैं कॉलेज में जाऊँगी तो मैं न्यूरो साइंस सीखना सोच रही हूँ. और हाँ, मेरा नाम सहर बासी है. मैं प्रिंसटन हाई स्कूल पे जाती हूँ और मैं अभी 12th में जा रही हूँ.
Perfect.
That
Okay,
sounded
so-
perfect.
So we know that you moved back and forth between India and the United States. Could you tell us a bit about your about the process? Like when did you move and for how long each time?
I actually, when I was born here in the US, but my parents are both immigrants, so they moved from India to the US. And after that, around when I was in kindergarten, my dad got a job in Australia. So I lived in Australia for like about a year, and then I moved to
Wow.
India. Yeah, I moved to India after that because my grandparents needed like my parents' support. So we moved to India after that, and we stayed there for like around a year and a half. And then I moved back here around like second grade, end of second grade or beginning of second grade. So yeah.
And you never moved back?
No, I stayed here in the US, but I moved across like New Jersey, throughout New Jersey. So
Oh, I see.
yeah.
Okay, well, do you consider yourself fluent in Hindi? Like, would you speak Hindi at home with your family or just English?
Yeah. So I speak in Hindi with my parents sometimes. My parents know English, so sometimes like if I don't know certain words, I'll be like speaking in Hindi and then move to English and then go back to Hindi.
Yeah.
But my grandparents don't know English, so I speak in Hindi to my family in India because not a lot of them know English. So yeah.
So like, did you have any trouble learning both Hindi and English when you're growing up, like at the same time learning two languages?
Not really, because in my household, like we spoke Hindi all the time. So it was more like at school I'd learn English and my parents would kind of teach me some words in English. And then at home I'd hear the elders, because my grandma used to visit us a lot. But at home I'd hear like the elders talking Hindi, and that's how I picked up that language. But it's been a little difficult for my brothers, especially because I got to live in India, so I had that like experience, but my brothers were pretty young when they were in India, and they're like not as used to speaking in Hindi as much. So yeah.
Well, do you guys still celebrate like the Indian holidays? Like, do you keep up the traditions at home?
Yeah, so I'm Muslim, I'm not Hindu. So a lot of the Indian traditions are related to Hinduism, but I do celebrate like Eid, which is a Muslim holiday. We have it twice in a year. So I celebrate that, but I have a lot of Indian friends that invite us, that are Hindu, and they invite us to like their events that they have at home, like Diwali or Holi. And I've seen the celebrations kind of whenever I go in the summer. I see like the parades and stuff sometimes through the window. So I have an idea of what it's like, but my mom has told me that it's definitely different from the way they celebrate it here and in India. So,
Got it. So, like,
yeah.
how often do you visit India? And then, like, when you are visiting, do you feel like you belong there, or like do you feel like we're like a foreigner? Or
Well, every summer I go to India for 2 weeks. I go for 2 weeks sometimes, and my mom and my brothers go for a month. And I feel like whenever I go there, I definitely don't like fit in as much because I'm known as the American child because first of all, I have somewhat of an accent, and a lot of like my beliefs are different from my cousins and people that live there. So I don't like. It's not that I'm not welcomed. It's just that it's not as much of a home for me. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, so you said so when you feel like you don't fit in, do you see any, can you like explain to us what cultural differences there might be?
Yeah.
And yeah, like when you move back and forth, do you see that difference?
Well, so what in India there's like their education systems are very different, first of all. So it's a lot of like standardized tests and memorization of facts, if that makes sense. And in America, it's more like interactive learning. So whenever I'm talking about school to them, it's like difficult for them to understand because they don't understand the whole system here. That's one difference. Another difference is there's like a lot of cultural differences in terms like they're more traditionalist and like less modern as much, if that makes sense. So like seeing things like a lot of women studying in college, for example, that's a huge deal. So stuff like that, there can be disagreements in that, but overall they're very welcoming people for sure. Like they'll definitely listen to me rant about how hard PHS is or something like that. So,
That's good.
so like, have you ever considered move to India to like go to universities there or like for work?
Yeah.
I don't think personally, I don't think I would be able to live that sort of lifestyle because it's so different from the American lifestyle. Like in America, we're much more independent and like a lot of us take care of what we need to do, but over there's a lot more like help from because it's very family oriented and there's like caste systems in place and stuff. So it's very different. Like the lifestyle is so different that I don't think I would be able to adjust as much to their lifestyle. And I also moved to the US for education reasons. So I moved here to go to college here. So yeah, I don't think I'd go to college in India. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I do see like one similarity. I think like I know that India is also pretty diverse. Would you say because there's like so many different languages within India?
Yeah.
And same in Princeton too. Everyone is so diverse. Do you think there's like this connection, or like is that a similarity? Would you say, or is it still different? Like, do people in India consider themselves as diverse or more unified?
Well, if I talk to like my cousins, for example, they would definitely think that India is diverse, but as a person that's not used to the environment and like whenever I go there during the summer, I personally don't. What I think diverse, in my opinion, is like different races in different countries and cultures, if that makes sense. But for them, diverse is different languages, because a lot of the people there have the same race, which is like Indian. But over here in Princeton, you have so many different people. You have people from Korea and China, and you have Japan, and like all these places, Italy and you know Europe and everything. So I for me, Princeton is more diverse than India, but it also has to depend on what you consider diverse. Like, is it race and culture, or is it religion and language? If that makes sense, I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
have you encountered any challenges in terms of academic studies due to the sudden change of school system when you're moving back and forth?
Yeah, for sure, definitely, because their educate like the education system in India and like Australia and like the US is so different because India's education system is all about, as I said before, like standardized tests and memorization of facts, like cramming that information in your head. And I feel like a lot of the American education system is like about applying that knowledge. So you learn it, you don't like memorize it as much, but like you're forced to apply your knowledge, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's a heavy focus on extracurriculars here and what you do during your free time. But over there, every time I went there, I would see my cousins didn't have any extracurricular activities. It would just be like they would have a tutor, and whatever they didn't understand in school, they would just learn that after school because apparently the teachers didn't explain it well. And it was just like making note cards and just memorizing what they learned in class every day. So in terms of that, it's different for sure because I've had to, like, whenever I moved around, I think one skill I gained was adapting to the different environments and growing in each environment. So, and I was there in first grade, but I'm referencing a lot of this to like what I've seen, and because my grandma's also a professor at a university, but with what I've seen and like with what I've encountered, there's definitely a huge gap in like and difference between the education systems, which is like another reason why I'm doing like a passion project about that, which is like promoting interactive learning in underdeveloped countries like India, for example, because of this like difference. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Well,
great.
yeah. Do you so it sounds like in India they are definitely more they focus a lot on the um learning, like making sure that you know the knowledge kind of.
Yeah.
And so, and like making sure that they do well in school, basically. Do you
Hmm.
feel that pressure from your parents to do well in school and like to just study hard when you're in America?
Well, I don't feel that pressure from my parents because they're new to it all, so they don't really I've had to like be more independent with my education when it comes to education. Um, and they know that I'm a responsible student, so they kind of just let me do what I need to do. But like they're not, because they understand that it's different from their time and where they studied from where I'm studying in my time, which I'm really grateful for. But yeah, so
Okay,
Nice. Okay.
I'm still not very clear on how well you can adapt to the Indian culture. I don't know if I get that completely, but like when you visit every so often,
mhm.
do you feel, because like the society is always changing, do you like
Mhm.
feel different every time you go back, or do you like get more used to it as you go back more often?
I think it's more like I do get used to it because like I feel like there are kind of two sides of me, there's like the Indian side of me where like whenever I go to like an Indian party or like I go to visit my cousins in India and my family there, I like start speaking Hindi and like crack up jokes in Hindi and like
Oh,
try fit in, like kind of transition into the way their society is built, and then I come back to America and then I transition into like the American side of me, if that makes sense.
mm,
So I kind of like go back and forth based on what the environment
okay.
is,
Yeah.
just so that I'm not like offending anyone or anything like that. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So, do you have any advice for anyone who might not be adapting to the American culture? So, like for example, like a new immigrant who just moved here. Do you have any tips for them?
Or you
Um,
can tell us like what was your method of adapting when you
Mhm.
were moving
well,
around?
first of all,
New
I
country.
feel like, yeah, well, first of all, I feel like you do not need to adapt for like any reasons if you're not comfortable. If you want to be Indian, wear a kurta or kurti at going to school. Like, it doesn't matter. right? Because I feel like a lot of people in Princeton are more welcoming of that stuff. But if you do want to kind of fit in and like adjust, because I understand that it can be like sometimes uncomfortable, being different from everyone else, I would say like definitely like talk to your friends and like understand, like reach out to them and go places with them and kind of like just analyze how they do their normal everyday things. And I feel like it just happens over time. For me, it just happened over time. Like I have been moving so much that I know how to adapt to certain places. So for me, it was just kind of natural. It just happened over time. But don't like force yourself to like change because someone's telling you to change. Do
Yeah,
what
definitely.
you're comfortable. Yeah, do what you're comfortable doing. If you're comfortable wearing like American clothes to school, go for it. But if you're not, then no one cares that you'd be wearing traditional Indian clothes to school. So be who you are.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, so I guess that's a wrap. Alright,
Okay, well, thank
thank
you.
you. So we'll see you in school.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.